Okay. Well, all right. So welcome to our MBA Finance class. Okay. So welcome to this. So my name is Manjit. Um, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Okay. So just so you know who you're dealing with. I did actually try to find you on LinkedIn, but if you're on LinkedIn, look for me. And
I'm not, but
uh,
I need to go on there.
yes, in fact, by HR class, I want you to be on LinkedIn. It's crucial for your career development, 100%.
Okay.
All right. So homework then is you're going to join LinkedIn. All right. It's free, and then you're going to find me. All right. And then you're going to start building your network. So tell you about myself. By qualification, all right. So by skill set, I am a qualified accountant. I'm a chartered accountant. Okay. Um, but for the last, I guess since 2008, I've been delivering training courses. I've been training, facilitating, um, uh, finance plus. I do finance, I do business, I do all aspects of business and management. So that's why I'm doing the HR modules. I do HR, marketing. I do everything. But by qualification, I am a chartered accountant. Okay, hence I'm delivering the
Yeah.
finance module by natural second choice. Um, and uh, for about 4 years, so from 2016 to last year, actually, for about 4 years, I was a university lecturer. So I was a full-time university lecturer for University of Wales. So
Okay.
I was a lecturer there in Swansea, delivering again finance courses. I was delivering MBA courses. So I actually taught the MBA finance module, um, and all areas of business and management, leadership, strategy. I teach the whole lot. I also teach public sector finance, public sector uh, management, PPPs, all that stuff. And so in the kind of 12 years that I've been delivering training courses, obviously inclusive of 4 years as university lecturer, um, I've pretty much, I have to say, I've pretty much taught nearly everything, you know. So um, I've taught so many different topics that I'm kind of flexible in what I can deliver. So um, and I really, to be honest, I really enjoy teaching. I enjoy teaching. It's a blessing to teach. And I think the best part is actually making a difference for people, helping people to make a difference in their lives. So I'm hoping that this will just be the beginning of our relationship, so that even once we've done the module and the HR, that we stay in touch, and if ever you need my help or assistance, please don't feel shy or afraid to get in touch. I'm not going to charge you for it. It's once we have our relationship, it's for life until we have a fight. If we have a fight, then or if you give me bad feedback, then that's it. Your friendship is over. All right. So I thought I'd lay that down. So obviously I'm doing the recording. I'll record the class. For the sake of Isaac, he sent his apologies. And to be honest, it's not a problem. I can always record every class if it's going to be useful
Yeah.
between us. I just need to be careful what I say. This recording.
Yeah.
So I've been a university lecturer, so I'm a qualified accountant. I've got a master's in financial management, right? So I have a level 7 in financial management, and like I said, I've taught MBA finance class as well. So it's going to be all right. We'll be fine. I know how to get people through the MBA
That's
side of
stuff.
it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Perfect. Yeah.
please don't stress, don't worry. And obviously, as I get to know you a little bit more, I'll get to know a bit more, how strong you are on finance. So I'm not gonna make too many assumptions about your financial knowledge, right? So what I'd like to do today is really just kind of ease you in, just go around the learning platform site, just show you what's there. All right,
Okay.
that's one thing. Just kind of briefly go over the assignment. All right, then I'm going to show you, it's a 30-minute video, right? It's a 30-minute video, which is kind of like an introduction, to finance, okay? Which will kind of just ground you on a very fast pace, so that when we start talking about things, it's going to be a lot more clearer for you, all right? So we'll do that. So I'll spend about 50 minutes just going over the site, what's there, how it's all kind of structured out. It'll be a little bit confusing at first, all right? And I'll explain why that is. But hopefully everything that you need is there, all right? So first off, let's get the painful side out of the way, all right? Which is the assignment, okay? Okay, so I've emailed this to you, and it is on the learning site on the platform. Okay, so we've got till 31st November, but to be honest, right, I think if we just work a little bit harder and with my guidance, we can probably get this done, right? We could probably fast track it here before end of November.
Yeah,
right?
that would be ideal.
Yeah. Obviously, it's depending on Isaac's speed and you together, so as long as we're together, right? So you're looking at about 4,000 words. Okay, so it's not, it's not a major thing. All right, so what you've got a load of numbers. All right, don't get scared yet, right? But you got a load of numbers, okay? And what we've got is some financial ratios, okay? And then what we're going to do is teach you is, well, what's the significance of these ratios? What do they actually tell you? What do they do for you? Okay. And then you've got some information here. The directors, they want to expand their business. So they've got three options. Do we take a retail outlet? Do we develop internet sales? Okay. Or do we produce greenhouses and conservatories? Okay, for what they're doing. Okay. And then we've got some numbers, some investment numbers. So for project 8, it's that investment B, C, and then we've got the cash flows. And then you're going to prepare a report, okay, to talk about some of the theory aspects, talk a little bit about what's going on with the company, and then you're going to give a recommendation on which project to do, all right? And also, think about not just the financials, but the non-financial aspects of that, okay? And then you've got this spot here that you've got some limited funds, which is divisible. So maybe you can do a combination of different projects. So we'll talk about that. And then you're going to have a little conclusion and advise the board. Okay. Then you've got part B, which is dead easy, setting out the principal arguments of policy to pay as you go rather than the policy of financing through borrowing. So I know you work at a school, you work primarily on cash basis, so that should be fairly straightforward. Okay. And then we've got a little small number crunching sum here about a leaseback deal, okay, for a county council. Okay, so I've kind of put a little bit of mixture of kind of private sector and public sector in. And obviously I recognize you are in public sector, but your career may take you another path in the future, so it's always good to be commercially minded for that. So, and then obviously you're familiar with the layout of the assignments and the brief and how we do everything. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with that. So what we will do is I'll predominantly focus the teachings to get you through the assignments. Okay, and what I'll do is as we do the class, I'll show you. You know what? This is probably going to be relevant for you in the assignment. Yeah. So I'll kind of guide you both through the process. So don't at all get anxious or panic about anything. Okay, we will get you through, and really that's my job. It's my job to get you through. And the good thing is it's me that put the assignment together, so I know what needs to be done, and I know how it's to be taught and everything. Okay, so I don't want you to fret about it, and obviously I recognize you're going to have double assignments and double classes, so we will do the necessaries for that. Okay, so don't panic at all on that. Okay, so that's the assignment. So please don't worry about the assignment. But you've got the assignment, and I know that you really was anxious to get a copy of that. So you have a
Yes.
copy of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the learning platform. Okay, so the learning platform is here. Okay, and let me just run through what you have. We can at any time send little chat messages here. Okay, there's little chat box. But I think if once we are all on WhatsApp, to be honest, WhatsApp will be the fastest way to communicate. You know, even at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can message me. I'm not saying I'll respond, but if I'm up, I might respond. But I think it's a fast way. It's a nice way. I like using WhatsApp for that basis. Okay, so what we have, everything that you need is on the platform. Okay, and it's a little bit confusing because the person who did the course before, he put it into sections. So he had section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, section 5, section 6. Okay, which is all relevant. And he put each section. He did it like how it should do, what the objectives are of the sessions. Okay, and then here he's put a little information here, some PowerPoints, and some videos and everything. Okay. So he's done that, okay, in each of the sections. So he's got lecture 1, and then he's got here lectures here, this section here, okay. So let me put. So he's got here some more lectures and some videos, a little bit about the assignment, okay. And then you've got this section here. It's got part 2, part A. Again, he's got some PowerPoints. He's got information there. It's got articles and some videos. So the videos are worth kind of watching. Now, I would recommend you to go through those, okay, because it will fill in, some of the gaps and some of the learning knowledge. Okay, so each of those sections, you'll see, the objective and everything, and then you'll see some, materials there. Okay, so, but what I've done is I thought, okay, all the resources are there, but how I'm going to deliver for you, okay, is going to be slightly different. All right. So obviously, my time with you is, only like about 10 hours. Okay. So obviously, the bulk of it, as you know, is going to be self-study. So what I am going to do with you, all right, is my aim is to get as much of the material taught to you, all right, as possible quickly, so that we've got lots and lots of time to go through work examples and lots of time to go through the assignment. Okay, whether we do it before the 10 hours or if we go slightly over. So what I've got here then is I've got a set of slides that I'll be working through. Okay, so this will be the first one. So introduction. Okay, and then here I've just got introduction PowerPoint here. Okay, and then I've got lecture 2. All right, so lecture 2. I've got some PowerPoint here, and then I've got some files. Okay, and I've got some notes and some case studies for you. Okay, and then again, lecture 3. So I'm going through lecture 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll become fairly obvious which ones are my material. And again, I've got the PowerPoint, and this one here, lecture 3. So even though this is lecture 7, but lecture 3 is going to be a main one for you, okay? Because it's going to make you a master in ratios, which is predominantly a lot of the question. All right. So we're going to focus on a lot of our time here on lecture 3. So I've given you the PowerPoint, and I've given you tons of examples. Okay.
So what section is that? That lecture 3?
Okay, lecture 3 is what's under section 3. Okay.
Under section 3. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it's a little bit confusing. When I was going through, I was thinking, oh, how do I restructure this? And I didn't want to kind of spend a lot of time rearranging it. It was just easy if I just did. Yeah. But I almost just was going to put all my material in a completely different section. But I thought, no, I'll keep it in order. It's fine. So lecture 3 is important, all right? And lecture 4 is also important, okay? So between lecture 3 and lecture 4 is the bulk of your assignment, all right? So I'm going to stress that, okay? So again, I put lots of materials here, lots of questions, all right, which you can work through. And what I've done is I've given you the questions and I've given you the answers, all right? So you've got questions and answers, questions and answers, okay, for that.
That's actually really helpful, by the way.
Yeah,
the answers, because then you see how everything is constructed.
Exactly. And to me, I've always found, I mean, you work at a school, okay, but I've always found, even when I was teaching, that the best way to learn, questions, and especially when you've got like a model answer, then sometimes I could do reverse engineering. Okay,
Yes.
how you do it, all right?
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer in reverse engineering, all right?
Yes.
So I'm on for that. So heads up then, lecture 3 and lecture 4 is really the most important lectures. I mean, all my lectures are important, but for your assignment purposes, lectures 3 and 4 are crucial. Lecture 5, again, very briefly. So some of these lectures we will go through fairly quickly. Lecture 6 is also relevant to the assignment. Okay, sources of finance. So I'll put some information there, again, a little case study, a little solution. Okay, and then we've got lecture 7. Okay, so sources of finance, a little bit relevant. Cost of capital, it's going to be a little bit relevant. Again, I've given you some information there. Shareholder value. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because the question, the assignment, I've steered it away because that's kind of really hardcore private sector. So I kind of stayed away a little bit from that one. Working capital is, I would say working capital is very important for you anyway on a day-to-day basis. Okay. And aspects of that would be relevant for the assignment. And then measuring shareholder value, again, I'm not going to focus too much on that one, right? And mergers and acquisitions, I'm not going to focus too much on that one. Okay, it's not too heavily relevant for that. Except maybe it could be a suggestion for future-proofing the business. Maybe we could look at some mergers, maybe look at some acquisition. So you could throw in some extra kind of aspects to that. Okay, so that's kind of like the material. So there's a lot of kind of backup materials, reference materials there, all right? But in terms of what I'll be doing in our class time together is I'm going to be going through the little notes and lectures that I've gone there, so that it gives us enough time to talk, for you to ask questions, on that basis. Okay. So yeah, is that okay? Does that sound
Perfect.
Okay?
Yeah.
If you get stuck, just let me know.
I will definitely let you know. Yeah. Definitely.
don't get overwhelmed. I know it kind of looks a bit overwhelmed. It's like, oh man, what's he giving to me, right?
And there's a lot of lectures there, a lot of videos to watch. But
yeah, to be honest, right, I've given you more than you're gonna need, right?
Okay.
That's fine. I don't mind that because for the kind of level now that you're going to be at. I mean, once you've got your MBA qualification, you're on another level. So you've got kind of backup resource material here that will be useful for you. All right. But in terms of the most of the time I'll be spending on is what I've loaded up. Okay. But everything else is there. And obviously the downside of what I've done, I maybe during the week I might move it all into just my separate section. All right. It doesn't necessarily tie in with the objectives of each of the sections. All right. So don't get confused with with that. All right. The order I'm doing things is slightly different. So like I said, what I might do is I might move everything into a separate folder. All right. So that it just kind of separates the two lots of contents. But we'll see it's there. Okay. So any questions on that so far?
No, I think I've got some notes on which ones are crucial, so I can go back and review and work on that and watch the videos around that. But yeah, it
So,
makes sense.
so I mean, what I do, is by all means, work your way through the material. Okay, even though, so the previous one was, financial capital, it's fine. You can go through it. It's going to be good knowledge for you anyway. All right.
Yeah.
But certainly the areas I'm going to focus on is really on the assignment. Okay.
Yeah.
For that. Okay, so what I'd like to do then for our remaining time is I'd like to show you it's like an introductory video, okay, on finance, on what the balance sheet is, profit loss, cash flow, the ideas of budgeting, forecasting, some key concepts which I think will lay a foundation for what we're going to be doing. So we'll wrap up today, and then we'll get connected on the WhatsApp group, and then we can schedule our next class.
Yeah.
And if Isaac's away, it's fine. I'm going to record it anyway. It's recorded,
Yeah.
so he's not going to miss anything really,
Okay.
other than the interaction that you and I are going to have. Okay, so that's the learning site. Okay, so let's crack on then. I'd like to show you this video. You may or may not be able to find this video on YouTube. This video is normally like £1,000, all right? So,
Really?
yeah, it's one of those videos that costs like £1,000. But I was able to get a copy of it. Okay. But it's one of those things that I can't actually give you a copy, but I do actually have a YouTube downloaded version that if you want it, I should be able to get to you. All right.
That'd be great. Yeah.
So I'm gonna pull it. We'll do sound check, make sure you can see everything, and then we'll start. Okay.
Perfect.
You hear the sound? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Good. All right.
My name is Julian Carruthers. I am Deputy Long-Range Planning Executive of Universal International. We have companies all over the world. We turn over £700,000 million a year. Or is it 700 million pounds? Or dollars? Anyway, something like that.
I'm Rita Scroggs of Scroggs Manufacturing. I have a wooden shed in Brixton. Last year I turned over £1,427.53.
I work on the 51st floor of Universal House, and I am widely respected throughout the corporation.
I work in a corner of the shed, and my team think I'm a bitch.
I am a highly sophisticated manager. I know all about TQM, Theory X and Theory Y, hygiene factors, management matrices, and of course, the hierarchy of needs. The only thing I do not understand is finance.
I am a highly unsophisticated manager. I don't know what the hell he was talking about, but I watch the figures like a hawk.
My colleagues are highly sophisticated managers too. They do not understand finance either. All of us feel slightly uneasy about admitting it, so we have a gentleman's agreement not to refer to it. We leave the financial arrangements to the accounting people, just as we leave the catering arrangements to the canteen people. We believe in trusting people.
I don't trust anybody. But then, fortunately, I'm not a gentleman. I cut my own sandwiches and I do my own accounts.
I would lose face if I admitted to anyone in the corporation that I do not understand finance, since I am constantly approving financial statements, draft accounts, and balance sheets.
If I didn't understand finance, I would not lose face, but I would lose all my money.
I have come to this person for help because she is so basic and unspoiled that she will use short, simple words that I can understand, and not the obscure mumbo-jumbo that accountants try to frighten you with.
Because I am so basic and unspoiled, I'm very flattered by his attention. But just what is it he doesn't understand?
Well, I understand a great deal about management, but pitifully little about how business actually works.
Right. Later on, I'll tell him about working capital, P&L accounts and cash flow forecasts. But we'll start by looking at a balance sheet. It is the window which reveals the business.
It is not the window which reveals the business. It is the blind drawn by accountants to keep us managers in the dark.
Then for the time being, we'll forget about the balance sheet. We'll just talk about money. In business, money only does two things. It comes in and it goes out. There are two basic things you have to know. Where did it come in from and where did it go out to? All right?
Yes, I understand that.
Good. So, let's begin with where it comes from. Say you're starting a business. There's only two places you can get money from. The first is by risking your own and perhaps get the people to share the risk with you. That money is called share capital or the equity, and the shareholders are the owners of the business and share all its profits or lose all their money. The second way to get money is to borrow it on a long-term basis and pay interest. That's called loan capital.
Light is beginning to dawn. There are only two places money can come from: share capital and loan capital. The owner's money and the money that they borrow from somebody else.
You've got it. Now that you've raised the money, where are you going to put it?
I am going to put it into the business.
I see. And what part of the business?
Into the part of the business that you tell me to.
Right. Well, just as there are only two places money can come in from, there are only two places money can go out to. First, you can put it into things you mean to keep. Buildings, machinery, cars, furniture. All those are called fixed assets. And second, you can put it into things you mean to sell. Raw materials, piece parts, packaging materials, and so on. That money is called working capital.
I've heard of that.
So, there is the basis of every business. The two places money can come from: share capital, risking your own, and loan capital, borrowing someone else's. And the two places it can go to: fixed assets, things you mean to keep, and working capital, things you mean to sell.
I now know, which I knew all along but did not know that I knew, that a business is based on cash and that you start by saying where you got it and what you did with it. I now understand how a business works.
He does not understand how a business works because he does not understand working capital.
I cannot imagine why she thinks I do not understand working capital.
Then let us ask him 3 questions. Does the rent of the factory come out of working capital?
Mm-hmm.
Does bank interest come out of working capital?
Mm-hmm.
Do wages come out of working capital?
Mm-hmm. Well, I can now understand why she thinks I do not understand working capital.
Do you want a lot of money in working capital or a little?
All capital is good, so I want a lot.
Mm-hmm. You want as little money as possible tied up in working capital.
I've changed my mind. As little as possible. Quite, yes. Yes, I see that. No, I don't. I do not understand working capital. Not at all.
Right. Look at this. All businesses are the same. You put money in and you get money out. Sometimes you get less money out than you put in. Then you go bust. Sometimes you get more money out. Then you're in business. Is that clear?
Yes. Yes, I'm not stupid, you know.
Oh, good. Now we know about the fixed assets, the things you mean to keep. They're obvious, but they can't make money on their own. To make money, you need working capital. You need it to buy raw materials, and you need it to pay the workforce to turn the raw materials into something you can sell at a profit. You need it to pay the overheads, administrative staff, electricity, rates, insurance, postage, telephone, and all that. Not to mention the interest on the money you borrowed. Then you can start to make money.
How?
Well, look at Scroggs Manufacturing. I make teaspoons. All I do is spend 60 on 10 kilos of light alloy strip on Monday, change its shape, and sell it for 300 on Friday. I buy another 10 kilos of light alloy strip, I pay the workforce, I pay the overheads, and I put a bit aside. And I keep a bit for myself, right?
No, I'm not happy.
Why not?
It's so simple, I am getting suspicious.
Well, let's look a bit closer. Take that light alloy strip I buy on Monday for 60. On Tuesday, I pay Harry 20 for stamping it into blanks. Now I've got 80 invested in stamped blanks. On Wednesday, I pay Sharon 20 to press the blanks into spoons. Now I've got 100 invested in pressed spoons. On Thursday, I pay Bill 20 to pack the spoons and send them to the collection bay. Now I've got 120 invested in packed spoons. On Friday, I pay all the bills for the week's overheads. They come to 100. So now I've got 220 invested in a crate of teaspoons. That's 220 tied up in working capital. And on Friday afternoon, the customer collects the spoons and pays 300 for them. So I have recovered my investment of 220 in working capital and made 80 profit.
I see. It's really a sort of cash merry-go-round. Well, look, you put in cash and get raw material. You put in more cash to get it stamped, pressed, and packed. You put in more cash to pay the overheads. Then you sell it and get your working capital back and a bit over. Then you start again. See, a cash merry-go-round.
For a sophisticated manager, that's quite a sensible statement.
Ah, I've got something right. I now understand working capital, sort of. I see that working capital is all the money tied up in things that you hope one day to sell to customers. What I cannot see is how she can live on 80 a week.
I cannot live on 80 a week.
I've got something else right.
I do not have to live on 80 a week.
Ah, she has a private income.
I do not have a private income. What has not struck him is that I have a 5-day week. I do not buy light alloy strip on Mondays only. I buy it every day. So, every day Harry stamps out 10 kilos of blanks. Every day Sharon presses 10 kilos of spoons. Every day Bill packs the spoons and takes them to the collection bay. Every day a customer collects the spoons and pays for them. It is a continuous process all through the year. So the cash merry-go-round goes on all the time. Because he is sophisticated, he will now be able to tell me how much I clear a week.
This is a sort of problem I'm good at, because I am sophisticated. She clears 80 a day, 5 days a week, so she clears 400 a week.
He may be sophisticated, but he's as thick as 2 short planks. He's walked right into my trap. Watch.
Ah.
Now, you say I clear 400 a week.
400 is correct.
OK. If I spend 60 a day on stripped metal, how much do I spend a week?
300.
If I pay Harry 20 a day for blanking, What do I pay him a week?
100.
And Sharon for pressing?
100.
And Bill for packing?
100.
And overheads?
100.
So, how much goes out every week?
700.
And if I collect 300 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, how much do I collect a week?
5 times 300 is 1,500.
So, if I collect 1,500 a week and spend 700 a week, how much do I clear?
800. I have fallen into a trap. I said she cleared 400 a week, but she has proved she clears 800 a week. I do not see how she has done this. But I do see how she can live on 800 a week.
I have trapped him because he does not understand about overheads. I have to pay 100 a week overheads, whether I make 1 consignment of teaspoons or 5 consignments. He charged a week's overheads onto every day's consignment, so he put 4 times 100 too much on my costs. But I only pay a week's overheads once a week.
I have learned my lesson. I see that overheads don't multiply like materials and labor. She only pays her overheads once a week. So the more consignments she produces each week, the more profit she makes on each consignment, because they divide up the overhead into smaller portions. I now understand working capital.
Good. Now that he understands working capital, we can leave the balance sheet. I can now explain the profit and loss account to him.
Ah, that's a different thing, is it?
Yes.
This is going to be a different thing.
Yes, the profit...
This is rather exciting.
Profit
You know,
and...
I'm enjoying this more than I'd anticipated. I'd rather imagine...
Shut up now.
Certainly.
Thank you. Now, look at my profit and loss account for 1 week. Start with my income. I sold 5 lots of teaspoons at 300 a time. That brought in 1,500. Income, 1,500. Now look at my expenses. I bought 5 lots of strip metal at 60 a time, so 300 went out on materials. I paid Harry and Sharon 100 each, so 200 went out on manufacturing labour. I paid Bill 100, so 100 went out on distribution labour. I paid out 100 overhead, so I made a trading profit of 800 on the money go round. Then I got 20 on some cash I put on deposit and paid out 20 in interest on my loan capital. So I ended up with a net profit of 800.
Now I understand the profit and loss account. But what I do not understand is this. If she's making 800 a week profit, why is she not filthy rich?
He does not understand why I am not filthy rich because he does not understand what profit is.
I understand perfectly well what profit is. Profit is champagne and caviar and a decent tailor.
Profit is not champagne and caviar and a decent tailor. Profit is having a bigger business at the end of the year than you had at the beginning. Profit is what lets the business grow. Working capital makes the business go round, but it can't make it grow bigger. Not unless it makes profit first. Suppose I want to make my exports grow. I send catalogues to a lot of Europe's leading teaspoon buyers. I need extra money. Then suppose I get an export order every week. I have to produce an extra consignment, another 10 kilos of strip metal. I need extra money. Overtime for my people. I need extra money. Then I'll want a packing machine to help Bill cope with the extra volume. Extra money. There's no doubt about the best place to get extra money. Use the extra that came out of the working capital merry-go-round last year. And that extra is profit. Now, the first thing that happens to profit is the taxman takes his slice of corporation tax. Right? Then I and my fellow shareholders decide how much of what is left we want to put back into the business for next year's development and growth.
It's been a very good year.
Do you think? Yes. Okay. And the remainder, if any, we share out as dividends. It's for you, that one's for you, that one's for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
For me. And we can spend that on caviar and cigars and a bulging wardrobe of fabulous frocks if we want to.
Ah, I'd never thought of it like that.
Wait a moment. Remember the two places money came from? Our own money we risked and the money we borrowed?
Yes?
Well, once the business makes a profit, there's a third place. The profit we put back into the business. It's called reserves.
Ah, yes. I understand reserves. And reserves are chests full of money stashed away in a bank vault.
Reserves are not stashed away in a bank vault, or not necessarily. They could be represented by machinery, or raw materials, or property.
Machinery? Machinery can't be reserves.
Yes, it can.
Well, she's using the word in a very silly and misleading way.
Yes, but that's the way it's used.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. Now, please explain reserves very slowly.
Right. Reserves is an entry in the in column. It merely states where the money came from. From money retained in the business, it does not state what the money has been used for, where it has gone to. Some of it can go to increase fixed assets, like the packing machine for Bill. And some of it can go into working capital, like the extra strip metal in the overtime for Harry and George. And some of it can be put by for a rainy day. You can invest it.
Or stash it in a bank vault.
If you're very sophisticated, yes.
Well, now, let's see if I've got this right. Once the business has got going, there's three places you can get money from. Your own, share capital, borrowing, loan capital, and retained profit, reserves. And then there's three places it can go to: fixed assets, working capital, that's the old merry-go-round, and investments.
He's got it. By George, I think he's got it. Yeah, there's quite enough of that, thank you.
Oh.
Now at last we can look at a real balance sheet.
Well, we can look at a balance sheet, but it will not get us very far because I do not understand that bit over there about current assets and current liabilities.
Well, I see his problem. That bit is simply a snapshot of the working capital at a single moment in time. The merry-go-round suddenly frozen. Look, if I stop the factory working, you can see that 60 of my working capital cash has been turned into strip metal. It's just as much of an asset as cash, but in a different form. So I have 60 of assets in raw material. Then I have stamped blanks, 10 kilos of strip metal with 20 of Harry's labour as well, 80, and pressed spoons, 10 kilos of strip metal with 20 of Harry's labour and 20 of Sharon's, 100. That's 180 of assets in work in progress. Then there's a case of spoons packed by Bill and taken to the collection bay. That's 60 of strip, another 60 for 3 people's work, 120, and the week's overhead of 100. That's 220 worth of assets in finished goods. Then there's 300 I'm owed for a consignment collected last week and 200 I put in the bank yesterday. So there's my current assets. Raw materials 60, work in progress 180, finished goods 220, debtors 300, cash at bank 200, that's 960. Take away the 2 bills I haven't paid yet for 60 and 100, my current liabilities, that's 160 I owe my creditors. So, my net working capital at this moment is current assets of 960, less current liabilities of 160, 800.
I see.
Phew. Now, we can look at the complete balance sheet again, and he will explain it to me.
I will now explain the balance sheet to her. Will I?
Yes.
Well, there are only three places money can come from. Share capital, which is put in by the shareholders on their own risk. Loan capital, which is money borrowed on a long-term basis. And reserves, which is profit put back into the business. But the money's not there, it's in the business. Then there are only three places in business that money can go to. Fixed assets, which are things you mean to keep. Working capital, which are things you mean to sell. The money can be in raw material, work in progress, or finished goods, or in the bank, or people can owe it to you. And you subtract the money you owe other people. And investments, which are savings for a rainy day, or money put in someone else's business.
Very good.
I got it right. Well, I now understand how business works.
He does not understand how business works because there is one thing I still haven't told him. I will prove he doesn't understand by asking him whether he would accept this order.
Now this order is from Superior Snacketerias Limited. They want 5 shipments of teaspoons a week for 8 weeks from the 1st of April. Instead of the normal 300 per shipment, they will pay 400 to compensate for taking up the entire production capacity for the 8 weeks. Well, as a sophisticated manager, I can work this out. 100 a day is 500 extra a week. 500 extra a week for 8 weeks is
4,000.
4,000. That is an extra profit of 4,000. I would accept this order.
He hasn't read the last sentence.
The last sentence reads, payable in full by the 30th of September.
I will now introduce him to the last of the 3 crucial documents for understanding business finance. I've shown him the profit and loss account, which tells you what happened to your money in the past. That's your financial history book. I have shown him the balance sheet, which tells you where your money is at present. That's your financial snapshot, a picture of the business frozen at a single moment of time. I will now show him the document that tells you where your money will be going in the future. That's your financial crystal ball. It is called the cash flow forecast. But first, I must ask him some more questions. How much a week will it cost to make the spoons for Superior Snacketerias?
Well, I think I can answer that. 50 kilos of light alloy strip at 6 per kilo is 300. Next, 20 per day for each of the 3 people is 60 a day. That's 300 a week, making 600 so far. And 100 overhead makes 700. It will cost 700.
And how much will come in each week?
400 a shipment each day for 5 days is 2,000 a week.
But when will that 2,000 actually arrive?
Payable in full by September the 30th. It will arrive in 6 months' time.
So how do we pay the people, pay the bills, and buy the new lot of strip metal?
We have some money in the bank.
Yes, we have 2,000 in the bank.
Fine, we'll use that.
Very sophisticated. So, let us look at the cash flow forecast. We start week 1 with 2,000. How much comes in that week?
Nothing.
How much goes out?
700.
Which leaves?
1,300.
So we start week 2 with...
1,300.
How much cash comes in week 2?
Nothing.
How much goes out?
700.
Which leaves?
600.
So we start week 3 with 600.
600.
How much cash comes in week 3?
Nothing.
How much goes out?
700.
Which leaves?
There is no need to go on. I can see where all this is leading because I am a sophisticated manager.
All this is leading to a cash deficit after 8 weeks of 3,600. which means bankruptcy as the consequence of accepting a profitable order.
I have changed my mind about accepting that order. My advice is that we should not accept it.
Perhaps we should not accept it. Perhaps we should negotiate weekly payments. Perhaps we should borrow some more working capital from the bank. But whatever we do, we start from a cash flow forecast. There's no perhaps about that.
I now understand business finance. Do I?
Yes.
Yes, I do. Apparently, it's all about money. Money goes into investments, savings for a rainy day. It goes into fixed assets, things you mean to keep. And it goes into working capital, things you mean to sell. Working capital starts with raw materials. It then goes into labor to produce the teaspoons, the goods. It goes into the overhead to pay the bills. Then it goes to the customer, who pays you more money than you put in. The money goes round again, and also you have some profit. Some of the profit goes in tax. Some goes into dividends, and the rest goes to making the business grow. I also understand that the more you produce each week, the more profit you make on each order, because you divide up the overhead into smaller portions. I even see that the less you produce each week, the less profit you make on each order, because it has to carry proportionately more of the overhead. I also understand the three crucial documents. The profit and loss account tells me what has happened to my money in the past. The balance sheet tells me where my money is now. And the cash flow forecast tells me where it will be coming from in the future. I am now ready to start my own business. You may be basic and unspoiled, but you have money. Will you come in with me?
I may be basic and unspoiled, but I'm not stark, staring sophisticated.
I'll mute myself. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was really good, actually.
Yeah, I find actually it's the fastest way to do a crash course in finance in 30 minutes. So it's and thing is, every time I watch it's like, oh, you know, that's a good point, that's a good point. I always, it's one of those
Find something.
you can watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
Okay, so any questions, any thoughts at this stage?
No, I think it's pretty self-explanatory regarding the profit and loss statement, balance sheet, cash flow, what the purposes of each one is, and how to review the various sections of it, you know, working capital, fixed assets, so forth and so forth. So, no, pretty good, but pretty self-explanatory.
Good. Okay, because you're going to need to know the basics of the profit, loss, and balance sheet, because part of the assignment is understanding about the ratios and everything. All right.
Yes.
So this really was just to kind of get to the foundation, just to kind of ease you in. Obviously, I made no assumptions on your level of financial understanding. All right, but it's a good grounding. So we've covered then, just to recap what we've covered. We've looked at the learning platform, all the materials and resources that are on there. All right. Obviously, most that will be obviously going through your time. My time really with you is just to kind of steer you, guide you. We cover the main point, and then I'll signpost you, you know which things are going to be relevant for the assignment and not. And then I'm going to kind of at least allocate around about at least 3 hours of our time together to solely kind of tutorial with with the assignments, and also what I'll do, since it's just a small group, you, me and Isaac, is I'll allow you to do a draft, submit me a draft, we'll go through the draft, things to tighten it up so that we can just get you that good final grade.
Yeah, perfect.
So we'll spend some of that time on.
So will we do that once, or are we sort of working on it over multiple weeks? And what's your?
I think what I'm going to propose that we do, right, because of the time, is that we maybe work on bits of it as we go along. Okay, obviously, the number crunching stuff is easy. I can go through that with you. How you pull it together, I'm going to leave to you, really. All right.
Okay.
In terms of how you do your report, but I'll make sure we go through the number crunching of the actual which projects give the better value. All right. And then I'll allow you and Isaac to say, okay, here are the numbers, right? So so that'll get you some marks. But then I'll leave it to you and Isaac. Well, okay, what do we do with this information? How do I, why would I go with this particular investment? Are there any other non-financial reasons why we'd go with a particular investment? So I'll make sure we go through the core parts, and I wouldn't advise that you leave the assignment all to the end. All right, work on it as you go along. All right, and to be honest, as soon as I've got a draft from you and Isaac, then I'll say, hey, you know what, I think you're ready. Give it a week and submit it whatever time that takes us. If it's mid-November. I doubt it'll be the first week of November.
No.
But
maybe the second, hopefully.
Yeah, but I anticipate that if we can, like you suggested, if we can get like at least 2 hours a week in, okay, then we can get most of it covered. I mean, what I might be able to, I mean, just another thought, if it's easier as well for you and Isaac, is I can video record each lecture. So what I can do, I can video record the lectures, right? All those lectures I got there, right? And then post them for you, and then we can just do like an hour together, right?
Yeah.
Just to go through any questions or queries, okay? And that way we could really crash it.
That would be that sounds perfect, actually.
Yeah.
At least to allow us to sort of go through all the recordings.
Yeah.
Understand what the requirements are in the various areas. We can then really start working on the assignment. And then when we speak to you, we are actually really mostly asking crucial questions.
Yeah.
Maybe parts that we don't quite get and we just need clarification on.
Okay. And in that way, then, between the two of you, you can work through them. You could do a crash course in one day if you wanted to, so that we get the information to you. So, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to minimize the double clashing with your next module, and the stress that's gonna come upon you. So, if you think that's a good idea, then what I'll do anyway, right, is I'll record each of the lectures, right, give a little talk, signpost you, give you directions what to do, and then we can then probably do it, like an hour each week for the next couple of weeks, just to kind of reinforce, ask questions, tackle stuff. And then if we can get the WhatsApp group together, then we can keep it ongoing, the support and the communication, right? Obviously, I don't want you to feel that you're not getting the time and getting the the support.
It's the support that matters, I suppose.
Yeah. So,
videos and we're getting your support. I think that's sufficient.
Yeah. So I'll give you 24/6 days, right? So I gotta rest. I gotta rest one day a week, right? But I'll give you 24/6 days support, all right? For you and Isaac. But if you think that's going to be more beneficial, I'm more working on for you. Let me try and work on that tomorrow. All right. I'll just go through each lecture. I'll record it. All right. And then I'll post it somewhere. I'll post it on on my YouTube channel, and I'll do like a little private, so that you and Isaac can see that. Let me think about that. How I do that. All right.
Okay.
And then that would be useful.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Good. So at least we've got the ball rolling, right? At least I can get you started.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll get the recording to Isaac. I'll record the lectures, right, so that you and Isaac can work at your own pace.
Yeah.
And then we can use the rest of the time together to really just support, go through the assignment, and get you through that crucial aspect. I think that will that could then minimize the clash over into November.
Yeah, it definitely will help. It will
Yeah.
definitely help. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So what we'll do then is send me your WhatsApp number.
Yeah.
Right? In fact, actually, you've got my number. So
I'll WhatsApp you.
yeah, this WhatsApp me. I'll add you to the group with between you, me, and Isaac, and then we can use that then as the 24/6 communication that we have together,
Yeah.
right? And then what we'll do, we can schedule. I'll get all the recordings sorted out, and then we can just schedule, an hour or so for the next couple of weeks, and then really then focus on the assignment, then focus on getting you through those, getting you through that
Any
module.
questions? Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Sounds like a good plan, actually.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say I'll bid you a good evening. It's only 4:30.
I know it looks dark outside. It kind of feels like
So
6 o'clock already.
it's still, the night is still young. It's still early.
I know it is, isn't it?
So I'll bid you a good early evening.
Yeah.
Good to connect with you.
Thank you.
So WhatsApp, get onto LinkedIn. I think that's very crucial. Definitely is part. To be honest, it's part of your MBA development. I really would encourage you to do that anyway.
No, I'll definitely get a profile sorted.
To be honest, and let's stay in touch. Let me get so I'll work on this week. To be honest, it'll only take me probably it'll take me a couple of days. I'll get all the recordings up, all right? I'll get them ready for you, and then you can work through them at your own pace. And then we'll schedule something maybe next week, just to see how you're getting on, just to review any questions. And I'm hoping really that then, if we ask the questions on the WhatsApp, then when we do the video link together, it's really just going to be this kind of guidance, really, as opposed to anything complex or you were stuck on a question of how do I do things. But all the questions I've put, all the resource material questions I've put on case study questions, I've provided solutions for those, so that you can, work your way through them. Yeah. But like I said, lectures 3 and 4 are the crucial ones, the ratios and the investment decisions. But I'll emphasize that when I do the recordings.
Yeah.
Good.
Great.
Okay. So
thank you so much, Ajit. Thank you.
Have a good evening, and we'll catch up. All right.
Thanks very much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.